Hello everyone, my name is Catherine Boger. I am the Vice President of the Microsoft 365 Apps and Endpoints team. This year, one of the key themes Ignite will focus on is resilience, showcasing how organizations are adopting technology to drive their digital transformation forward, building resilience for today and preparing themselves for whatever may come in the future. And today, we'll spend some time with Microsoft 365, the world's productivity cloud, and learn how customers from around the world in a range of industries and facing different challenges have been able to use Microsoft 365 apps, Endpoint Manager, and other tools within Microsoft 365 to build resilient organizations. In this session, I'll also share how our approach has evolved over the last few months. And finally, we'll have the opportunity to dig into some of the latest product innovations. Now, this is truly an extraordinary moment. Ignite is our major international conference that we look forward to every year. But instead of a large stage at a convention center in Orlando or New Orleans, those of us speaking at Ignite will be presenting from home, or as I am, from a socially distanced recording studio in the Seattle area. Now here you can see how many of the Ignite presenters have MacGyvered their homes into home studios to bring great sessions to you this year. A year ago, a digital Ignite would have been unthinkable, but now a major international conference over Teams seems so obvious. But regardless of where we are, we're looking forward to connecting with all of you. Now, while the world has changed, one thing has remained constant, and that's our mission. Microsoft's mission is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. And a core part of this mission is to support you as you build resilient teams and organizations to weather these changes and prepare for whatever comes next. And as organizations recover and reimagine the future for their business, Microsoft is privileged to help provide the information and tools that people, teams, and organizations need to be productive. And one way we do that is through Microsoft 365. Microsoft 365 is the complete, integrated solution that customers need to build a resilient organization and move forward with confidence. It brings together the best of Windows 10, Microsoft 365 apps, and enterprise mobility and security. These foundational productivity, management, and security capabilities enable customers to do their best work now and help to unlock the incredible collaboration and security innovations that position organizations to continue to thrive in the future. And as a package, Microsoft 365 includes industry-leading solutions, just some of which that are represented here. But the true strength of Microsoft 365, how it helps customers as they transform and grow their organization, comes from the deep native integration, and how that integration helps customers achieve more. Over the course of the next few days, you'll hear a lot more about Teams, Office servicing, and security innovations from my colleagues. But today, I want to talk to you about the recent and upcoming productivity and management innovations in Microsoft 365. One of the things that inspires me every day is seeing and hearing from our customers on how they're using Microsoft 365 to transform their organizations, and specifically how IT has managed through this initial response and recovery efforts for their companies. So today, I'd like to share some inspiring stories from IT admins like Angel Taylor from the Georgia office of the State Treasurer, Todd Mazza from Rockwell Automation, and some examples from Arkin and CenturyLink on how they've used Microsoft 365 to help their organizations.
The governor's order came that we were going to close down our offices and work remotely.
We manage so much money for the state of Georgia that we want all our communications between the outside world and within our agency to be secure.
As a psychiatrist, it is of utmost importance, obviously, to have a human connection when having a conversation. When COVID happened, we don't do a lot of virtual visits.
I see a lot of potential in the combination for video counseling and face-to-face sessions. The future of care is changed now.
We had to pivot very quickly. So our challenge is, how do we shrink the world and better collaborate?
This has been an incredibly tumultuous time, and we really needed to step up without missing a beat.
Microsoft is proving to be part of our resiliency plan. We've all found a way to help change the world in a positive way.
It's really critical that our users have access to their work environment. Microsoft 365 opened up a whole new world.
We have access to all of our documents and all of our data anywhere in the world from any device. It just works.
So Microsoft 365 provides our company of over 42,000 employees a common platform that enables collaboration with a unified experience.
In the past, it would literally take hours to get the person who has the answers I need. I can now find the support we need from the coworkers we need it from, regardless of where they are. As we progress beyond the pandemic and start to get back to normal, we're going to keep rolling with this, so there's no reason to go back.
Now, these are obviously just a few examples of how IT teams all around the world have truly taken on the challenge of leading their organization through these challenging times. And I'd encourage you to check out the Customer Stories Hub on Tech Community for my recent fireside chat with Ralph van Houten from Atos on their incredible digital transformation story. This transformation and this challenge is big and broad. In fact, in July, we spoke to over 500 organizations across the world and a range of industries to understand how they were dealing with the pandemic. 85% of those told us they were actively engaged in a digital transformation effort, and another 11% said they had plans to get underway. But at the same time, 90% of respondents told us they were facing tighter budget controls. And we know, as an IT leader in your organization, you're being asked to lead this incredible transformation with even fewer resources than ever before. And in our conversations with customers, we've also heard that every organization is at a different spot in their journey. Some are still largely relying on on-prem environments. Some are deployed on Office 365 and perhaps testing other cloud workloads. And at many, IT leaders are using Microsoft 365 as an important part of their strategy to help build more resilient organizations. Now, if you haven't started or just in the beginning phases of your effort, I want to share some interesting insights from your peers. Among the 500 organizations we spoke with in July, we found that those further along in adopting Microsoft 365 were more confident in their ability to remain flexible and resilient in the face of change. So let's dig in a little bit. 58% of those highly cloud-based organizations reported feeling very confident in their ability to adapt and thrive through major societal and macroeconomic disruptions, compared to 35% of peer organizations who were still largely relying on on-prem solutions. And the customers with the highest levels of Microsoft 365 adoption were also 1.6 times more likely to strongly agree that their end users had the technology they needed to flexibly choose where they could get their jobs done, which, as we all know, is really important in today's environment. And finally, the high adopters reported 2.1 times higher levels of user satisfaction with the remote work experience relative to peers who were less adopted on Microsoft 365. So what we're seeing is customers who have adopted Microsoft 365 for productivity, management, and security are able to be more agile and adaptable to change because each capability, every application, all the individual components have been designed to connect seamlessly with one another into one platform that delivers integrated value. So regardless of where you are in your journey, Microsoft 365 and we are here to help you manage through this unpredictable time and build a more resilient organization. And that starts with empowering your end users. Empowering individuals, teams, and organizations is key to why we built Microsoft 365. Where and when we work may have changed, but what we need to get done certainly has not. So how users go about accomplishing their tasks and moving projects forward, the need to brainstorm, collaborate, and connect is critically important. So let me hand it over to Chanda Wong to show you some new innovations in the product and how they can help you and your organization.
Thank you, Catherine. We are all adjusting to working in a hybrid work environment with distributed teams, and that brings its own set of challenges. When we talk to information workers about what has been most challenging while working remote, 3 types of activities were cited most often: brainstorming, working together to plan projects and activities, and sharing information while also staying informed. 30% of users told us that brainstorming was their top challenge while remote. So I'd like to show you how Microsoft Whiteboard helps enable better brainstorming and collaboration for all team members, regardless of where they are working from. And Whiteboard's integration with Teams ensures everyone has the context they need. I start by dialing into the Teams meeting. The rest of my team has joined. Alan shares the whiteboard the team has been working on. There are a number of templates to choose from, including this one for brainstorming. I can like ideas with a thumbs up, move sticky notes, and add my own. Like in Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, I can work with others at the same time. Emily is writing with digital ink, and she can also beautify her handwriting and make it more legible with the magic wand. Move the coffee machine? Great idea. Because the whiteboard is an infinite canvas, I zoom out to add an image of the pantry and use the magic wand to turn it into ink. I can show the team my vision for the new pantry. While you may not be able to walk up to a whiteboard, with Microsoft Whiteboard and Teams, you can still reach out to colleagues for an interactive brainstorm session. The second most cited challenge was around working with others to plan activities or projects. 17% of users told us that figuring out who does what when and how have become more difficult. So I'd like to share a few tricks that I use to help bring clarity to projects. When you need to work with others on a document, presentation, or spreadsheet, it is helpful to see who else is currently working in the document and what part of the document they are working on. Here, Lydia is using @mentions to alert Grady to take action. By @mentioning Grady, he will receive an email with a link that directs him back to the document. This way, collaborators can stay in sync on what needs to get done. For when you're working on your own time, while you were away is an especially helpful feature. It lets you know what's changed in your deck since the last time you were working in it. It highlights slides on which others have made changes, and it tells you what has changed on the slide. It even displays when the edit was last made and who made it, so you can quickly get caught up and know who to follow up with when working with others. Finally, another 17% of users told us that their top challenge has been in sharing information and staying informed. These are a few tools I use to help me find, share, and receive information. I use Microsoft Search to find relevant information quickly from across my organization. I can start right in my desktop search box. I type a colleague's name, and as I do so, the suggested results will also update. I can see information like who she reports to and files she's shared without ever leaving the document I am working in. I can also query results directly from the browser with Microsoft Search and Bing, and get search results from the web as well as from within my organization. So whether you're searching for people, files, internal sites, or answers to common questions, you can use Microsoft Search throughout your workday to get answers quickly. You can find more collaboration tips and tricks in the deep dive video, Enabling Virtual Collaboration for the future of our hybrid work environment. Now, back to you, Catherine.
Thanks so much, Chanda. That was great. Now, we know that our customers work across multiple devices and expect consistent and high-performant experiences regardless of the device they use. And I hope all of you know that Microsoft 365 works seamlessly across devices and that we continue to innovate in these experiences. And today, I'm really excited to announce the new Outlook for Mac. It's redesigned from the ground up and available via toggle switch beginning in mid-October. To learn more, I hope you check out the Introducing the New Outlook for Mac deep dive. For users of Microsoft 365, features and capabilities such as these have had a profound impact on productivity for all employees. In fact, our customers tell us that 16% are more likely to agree that Microsoft technologies have increased employee engagement. And 33% are more likely to say that Microsoft technologies, like the whiteboard app Chanda showed, improved employee creativity and innovation. 51% are more likely to strongly agree that employees are able to collaborate seamlessly and in real time. So, to help our customers get the most out of their Microsoft 365 investment, this year at Ignite, we're announcing a new wave of new office management and servicing capabilities. Be sure to watch Alesh Holacek's session to hear more about these announcements and learn more. I'm just going to give you a sneak peek. These new capabilities will include a predictable and reliable enterprise-level servicing model, which is designed to minimize interruption and to optimize your network utilization. You'll also learn about new cloud-based controls and insights to empower IT admins to act with confidence. And finally, new Office app health and remediation capabilities will help free IT to focus less on troubleshooting and more on delivering strategic value to your organizations. Together, this wave of investment will further empower IT admins and streamline Office servicing, helping organizations unlock the full value of Microsoft 365. But these aren't standalone capabilities, and later on, you'll have a chance to see just how these new capabilities will fit in with the larger Microsoft 365 admin experience. Now, we're also building on existing programs that you have told us are valuable. One example of a program is AppAssure. We introduced AppAssure with Fast Track back in September 2018. This put Microsoft engineering resources behind our compatibility promise for Windows 10 and Office 365. As you heard from Brad Anderson earlier, we've seen incredible success over the last 2 years. In fact, since launch, AppAssure has evaluated over 700,000 apps, and only 0.2% required remediation. Working with our customers directly, we've been able to save organizations more than $7.4 billion. We've also expanded this program to address any potential app compatibility issues with Windows Virtual Desktop, Microsoft Edge, and as Brad just announced, Windows 10 on ARM devices. So as you deploy Microsoft 365 within your organization, we're here to help you with any concerns you may have around app compat. Now, as organizations evolve and expand their digital estates with new apps, data, and devices, to keep up with the changing needs of your end users and your organization, you need to have an integrated approach to management. This is more important than ever. And Microsoft Endpoint Manager brings together Configuration Manager and Intune to simplify the IT experience by bringing all of your apps and endpoints, whether physical or virtual, into a single unified management console. This lets IT take advantage of modern management regardless of whether they are just getting started on their journey by tenant attaching your Config Manager devices to the cloud, co-managing with Config Manager and Intune, or already natively cloud managed. When IT cloud attaches their apps and endpoints, they make Microsoft Endpoint Manager their IT hub, integrating not just with Microsoft 365, but with Microsoft's advanced security, identity, and compliance solutions. Edge, the best browser for business, as well as new offerings like Productivity Score and Microsoft Teams Rooms. This affords organizations new opportunities to meet their productivity needs and unlock amazing employee experiences. And because Microsoft Endpoint Manager can leverage Microsoft's powerful data set, it's intelligent, delivering analytics and signals to keep you ahead of security threats and change, so you can keep costs down and keep your organization running smoothly. In fact, we found that 91% of the organizations we spoke with said they had lowered costs by using Microsoft Device Management. And IT leaders who have adopted co-management have reduced the time needed to support and manage devices by an estimated 18%. Now, since the average support team is about 50 full-time employees, this could mean freeing up as many as 9 staff members to focus on other strategic business priorities. Microsoft continues to invest in technology to help you understand how your organization is working, how technology can better support your end users, and how you can get more from your Microsoft 365 investment. One of the ways that we do that is with something called Productivity Score. And I'm really excited to announce that Productivity Score will be generally available this October. Now, some of you may remember we introduced Productivity Score in private preview last year at Ignite. And just over the past 4 months, the number of organizations that have signed up for the preview has increased by 30 times. Productivity Score leverages signals from the Microsoft Graph to give IT admins insights on how work gets done and actions they can take to position their organization for the future. To do this, Productivity Score focuses on 3 things: visibility, insights, and the ability to take action. The first is visibility. We want you to see how your organization works by helping you understand the employee experience and how the technology you use affects how work gets done. Now, having visibility is great, but you need more than that to understand where you are today. So we give you insights to help you enable improved experiences. And lastly, we want to help you enable everyone to do their best work by taking actions like providing training and optimizing configurations. So now let me hand it over to AJ Smith, who's going to take us through the Productivity Score.
Thanks, Catherine. When it comes to visibility and understanding how the organization works, the best place to get that summary view is on the right side of the Productivity Score homepage. Here I can see my score. I can also see my peer benchmark, which helps me understand how I compare with other organizations similar to me based on the number of licenses I have, the industry that I'm in, and the region that I'm located in. Underneath that, I can see my score breakdown across the employee experience, which is made up of categories like communication, meetings, content collaboration, teamwork, and mobility. And then I can see my score breakdown on the technology experience, which is how technology influences my productivity. And that's made up of information from my endpoints, network connectivity, and Microsoft 365 apps health. And then underneath that is my score history, so I can see how I've progressed over the past 6 months. Now, in the main part of the page here is where you can see the primary insights that help you understand what areas you might want to improve. When the product becomes generally available at the end of October, you'll see 3 new categories with new insights. So let's start with meetings, which is brand new. Meetings is all about what percentage of the meetings in your org follow one or more meeting best practices. So if I click into here, I can see that at 60% of my meetings in my org follow one or more of the best practices. And I can also see how that's been progressing over time. Now, when we launch Productivity Score, when we think about meetings, we're only going to focus on just the best practices that happen during meetings, things like video and screen sharing. In the future, we'll bring in best practices that happen before meetings, like sending an agenda, and best practices after meetings, which would be things like were notes sent out or was there a recording. But if I scroll down here, I can see even more information about my meetings. So for example, are video and screen sharing being used in those meetings? How many hours are people actually in meetings, and are those meetings being used with video and screen sharing? I can also see the breakdown between instant and scheduled meetings and how long those meetings usually run. Then I can also see the number or the types of meetings that are being done in my organization and how many people are participating in those. If I scroll down even further, I can see how people in my organization are actually meeting. So this is where I can take some of that actionability, or that I can use this information and leverage some of the related content and send people's training materials around maybe how video or screen sharing can make a meeting a bit more effective. Also new to Productivity Score is the category for teamwork. And this helps you understand how people are contributing to shared workspaces within your organization. So here I can see that I've got 70% of my organization contributing to a shared workspace and how that's been progressing over time. Now, when we think about a shared workspace, it focuses on three things: people using shared mailboxes in Microsoft 365 groups, people using Microsoft Teams and the channels within them, and Microsoft SharePoint team sites. If I scroll down, I can see the breakdown of how people are actually using these workspaces. I can also see the degree of engagement within those workspaces. I can also see how many days per week those workspaces are actually being engaged. And then last but not least, I can see out of all those workspaces that are being used, what percentage of them are actually leveraging Microsoft Teams. If I scroll down, of course, I can see those user level details just like you saw in the meetings category. But unique to teamwork, though, is I can also see the data based on the workspace, so I can understand which workspaces have lots of members or have more engagement than other ones. The last new category is part of the technology experience. As you can see, the technology experience gives you insights on your endpoints, like how fast do your Windows 10 devices boot up and get to a productive desktop, network connectivity to help you understand your connection to Exchange, SharePoint, and Teams, and our new category, Microsoft 365 Apps Health, to help you understand if your devices are on a recommended update channel. And this is where you can start to see some of the capabilities you heard Catherine talk about a little bit earlier. So Microsoft 365 App Health is going to help me understand which percentage of my devices are on recommended update channels. In my organization here, I've got about 60% of my devices on those recommended update channels, and I can see how that's progressing over time. So I can scroll down here and I can even see more information about which percentage of my devices are on supported versions and the latest releases within the current channel, the monthly enterprise channel, and that semi-annual enterprise channel. I can also see the number of devices on those supported and recent versions and how that's been tracking over time. As you can see, Productivity Score gives you the visibility, insights, and actions to help transform how your organization works. To learn more about Productivity Score, check out the on-demand video called Transform Your Organization with Microsoft Productivity Score in the Ignite catalog. With that, I'll hand it back over to Catherine to wrap things up.
Thanks so much, AJ. Now, Productivity Score is just one example of how the tight integration within Microsoft 365 unlocks opportunities for IT to shift resources from more routine tasks to more strategic initiatives to meet the needs of their end users. The last few months alone have shown us just how critical a role IT plays in positioning their organization for the future. And organizations more adopted on Microsoft 365 report significantly higher end-user satisfaction with digital work experiences, onboarding efficiency, and ticket response. As such, end users at these organizations are 2.1 times more likely to describe their own IT org as a competitive differentiator. It's so incredible. So let me end where I started. At Microsoft, our mission is to help every person and every organization achieve more. And we recognize that this mission is only possible by partnering with our IT community, which, as this pandemic has so dramatically shown, is essential to enabling organizations across every industry reimagine the future. So don't delay. Get more out of Microsoft 365 now. No matter where you are on your journey, we're here to help empower you to do more for your organization. So please make sure you're taking advantage of Fast Track and our partners to accelerate your deployments. Use these resources that we discussed in this session, things like our deployment guides and technical skilling. Be sure to leverage those. And to see how other customers have made their journey with Microsoft 365 and learn best practices, please visit the Customer Stories Hub. Thank you so much for your time today, and we look forward to hearing from you and supporting your journey on Microsoft 365.